Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the November 2025 meeting of the Washington County Quorum Court to order this evening. As you can see, we've got some dignitaries with us tonight, guests of honor here from the Land O' Goshen 4-H Club. And a couple of those representatives tonight. Yeah, let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. We open every meeting with prayer and pledge, and a couple of these volunteers have volunteered to do that for us tonight. I think that's an awesome honor for us. So Miriam Calhoun and Mr. David Anderson, if you guys would come forward, they're going to do the prayer and pledge for us this evening. Yeah.
If I could get your guys' attention for a second, I'm going to say a quick prayer, so please remove your hats. Thank you, Jesus, for tonight and this meeting. Please watch over all that's happening in this meeting, Lord. Please help it to be very productive, and please help us all to have a safe ride home. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What an absolute honor and treat. Thank you, Miriam and Dave, for your wonderful welcome and invocation to this meeting. With that, we're going to move into the adoption of the agenda. Do I have any motions with regard to the agenda?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda by Justice Ecke, second by Justice Dennis. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Do we have any preliminary motions this evening? Justice Dean is out, so if somebody would maybe... Justice Washington would go ahead and...
I move that all ordinances and resolutions be read by title only.
Justice Washington makes a motion that all ordinances and resolutions be read by title only. Justice Rios Stafford has seconded it. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ordinances and resolutions will be read by title only. Item number 5 is a 15-minute public comment period with a limit of 3 minutes per individual. Any public comments this evening? Would you come forward, please state your name and where you're from, just for the record.
Thank you, and before you start my time, I do have copies, if you would. My name is David Baltz. Good evening to the court, and thank you for the opportunity. I return a third time asking for action to be taken by the ordinances this court has taken an oath to uphold regarding the Stewart's Family Christmas Amusement Park and Stewart Family Fireworks. First, I am here to give caution that all justices, judge, sheriffs, and planning department have been placed on notice. You have been placed on notice that there is an illegal business operating within Washington County. Placed on notice that public safety has been put at risk by the illegal business's operations. Placed on notice that Stewart's Christmas Lights is an illegal business that is impacting quality of life for the citizens of Wyman Road. Trash, noise, light, and environmental pollution illegal business creates. You've been informed this amusement park is operating as an LLC with vendors, product for sale, admission, advertising, paid staffing, events, structures, multiple vehicles, and heavy equipment. Because you have been and are also now again being informed of the ongoing situation with the illegal business Stewart Family Christmas Lights, you are culpable and liable and will be held to that culpability by the citizens of Washington County for all that is being allowed to transpire regarding this illegal business. Accidents, injuries, death, or any impact to personal property or well-being that is caused by the Stewart's Family Christmas Lights LLC is not a matter of if but when. Ipso facto, a matter of not if but when this court is liable. I should not have to stand here and cite Ordinance 2025-44 for you, but to understand the numerous infractions that are occurring, you have not complied with any part of Section 4 requiring the owners apply for the CUP. Section 5, administering the rules does not happen. Appropriate files being filed has not happened. Notification of property owners, proof, is not there. Adequate utilities, the road is unsafe, entry and exit are unsafe, traffic is halted, stopped, or at a standstill. Proposed use compatible with the surrounding area. We are a single-family agri area. Fireworks, loudspeakers, late-night traffic, and trash are not found anywhere else in the surrounding area. That the permit will not be, let me move ahead here. Conditional use, majority vote. Quorum court, have you voted? They're operating right now taking money. Have you voted? Penalties, $1,000 each day as they're open. Everyone keeps not wanting to enforce the ordinance, but the judge has to direct the sheriff's department to enforce the ordinance. It's time to step up and do that before someone is ultimately hurt or killed. We keep getting told that the county wants to allow its citizens to do the right thing. I think we all can agree and see that it's now time for the county to do the right thing and listen to its citizens. Finally, if there are any people out there that applied for a CUP that aren't getting it, what are you telling them? You're telling them that they don't have to. They can just operate. They can do whatever they want in the eyes of the county by ignoring this. I've included on this list also the names of the owners and operators for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Public comments. If you, yeah. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Kenneth Lovett, Fayetteville, Arkansas. That's pretty sad, have that right there. Y'all scared of your public. There's a gentleman that spoke last week, during the public meeting, said needed to censor the citizens. Censorship of the public in public meetings is not allowed when it restricts speech based on its content or viewpoint, as public meetings are considered a limited public forum protected by the First Amendment. However, officials can impose reasonable, content-neutral time, place, and manner restrictions on speech. Speakers can only be removed after their speech becomes disruptive and after a warning. And that's done by the chair, not individuals. Key takeaways is public meetings are a vital forum for public discourse, and while officials can manage this process with reasonable rules, they cannot censor speakers because of their views. The right to criticize the government is at the core of the First Amendment and is protected during public comments periods. Respect is given to those that deserve it, not just because of a title. Disrespect is earned, and 5 of you here tonight have earned my disrespect. What is the true meaning of deserve? To merit, be qualified for, or have a claim to reward assistance, punishment, etc., because of actions, qualities, and situation, or deserve exile to deserve charity, a theory that deserves consideration. It's a sad day when we come in here to a public forum and we look at people and acting like children and your leaders in our community. It's a sad day. Washington County Justice of the Peace is primarily a county legislator who serves on the Quorum Court, the county's legislative body where they vote on all spending revenue. Their responsibilities include setting the county budget, levying taxes, and appropriating public funds for various departments. JPs also have other duties such as performing marriage ceremonies and addressing local administrative matters, legislative and financial responsibilities, some of which are the county budget, taxation, public funds, employee pay, contracts, land use, marriage ceremonies, local issues, constituent concerns, preserve the peace, and other roles. Be nice if y'all stick with it. Thank you.
Public comments.
Sherry Main, 15451 Riches Road, Fayetteville, and my JP is District 7, Chuck Dean, which I see he's not here tonight. My comments are mainly on the budget. I wanted to come up now and speak before budget is the last item on the agenda, so I wanted to let you all think about this a while before we get to that point. I went through the budget from beginning to end, and I do have some questions I don't think I've heard answers to, or I've heard any of the JPs ask about the budget, and I have not seen any justification letters or explanations in the budget for these items. So I respectfully want to go over these, but I did do a printout to hand to each of y'all tonight, so you can look at what I'm saying and see on your own the budget items that are in question. And hopefully we'll get some answers before there's a vote tonight on the budget. I'd already gone over the county judge, 5 positions total. On one position, he needs to add additional $66,352 to his budget to fund, 1 position. And unemployment compensation, the 2025 budget was 0. 2026 budget for the judge is $11,275. What caused this increase? Training education under the judge's budget, 2025 was $1,000. 2026 budget is $5,000, $4,000 increase. No justification, explanation on any of these. Quorum Court, under other professional services, 2025 budget was $14,000. 2026 budget is $45,000, a $31,000 increase. No justification, explanation. IT, Information Technologies, dues and memberships, 2025 budget, $1,620. 2026 budget, $36,620, $35,000 increase. Need justification, explanation. County Attorney, Special Legal, 2025 budget was 2025 budget was $73,000. 2026 budget is $100,000, $27,000 increase. Dues and memberships under the county attorney, 2025 budget, $22,500, 2026, $36K, $13,500 increase. Meals and lodging, 2025 budget, $5,000, 2026 budget, $15,000, $10,000 increase. No justification, explanations. Animal shelter, utilities, electric, gas, and water, 2025 budget was $54,000, 2026 budget is 0. Need explanation as to why $54,000
Thank you, ma'am. Your time has expired. Public comments.
May I approach to hand these out, please?
You can give them to Mr. Sowers. Director Sowers, will you take those papers from her and take them to Mr. Allen?
Would you give me back any that you don't pass out?
Public comments.
Hi, my name is Madeline Farquhar, and I'm the leading developer for the wind project that RES is developing north of Lincoln. And I know you all have heard about it by now. I've had the pleasure of speaking with some of you already, and while we don't have any official county business at the moment, I thought it was important to come and speak. You've heard a lot of negative comments about wind energy over the past months, and I think you deserve a more complete picture of the benefits the project could bring to the county. I have some information here also that goes over almost every community concern that we've had over the past year and how we plan to address it, along with much more detailed information on our website, trilliumwind.com, with peer-reviewed studies to back up the facts. Over the past year, I've sat at a lot of kitchen tables around here. I've talked with farmers and landowners who've been on the same land for generations out there. One landowner told me, my biggest fear is losing my family land. Once it's gone forever. And it sticks with you because we all know families who have had to sell their land, who've lost their farms. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I believe this project matters. Because it's not just about energy, it's about giving landowners another option. A way to keep farming, to keep ranching, and to keep their land in the family, instead of selling to a developer who's just gonna put in a bunch of subdivisions. If you want to talk about preserving the rural nature of a county and protect from overexpansion, this is an excellent option. Is there a visual impact? Absolutely. But the project only uses about 2% of the land, and the income it brings to landowners in the county can be life-changing. It means tens of millions of dollars in long-term tax revenue for county schools and infrastructure, and the project could bring over 200 temporary jobs at the peak of construction. This brings economic stimulus to local businesses without the long-term strain on resources that a permanent relocation brings. And I wouldn't be here if we haven't had a lot of interest. We have around 30 families who've already come together with a local independent attorney to evaluate this project as a group. And we currently have around 2,000 acres either leased or under negotiation. And I understand why people are concerned. Every industry has bad actors, and these projects can be disruptive during construction. But the wind industry has matured over the past 50 years, and RES is a company with deep integrity. We're a private, family-owned company. We don't have to answer to shareholders. We answer to fiscal responsibility. We encourage every landowner to have an attorney review the lease. We work collaboratively to offer protections on things that matter to them the most, and we work with counties to ensure this makes economic sense altogether. That is why I'm asking the court to consider rejecting ideas of bringing a moratorium on wind energy. Not because questions shouldn't be asked, they absolutely should, but because a moratorium would shut down the conversation rather than support it. It would take the decision out of the hands of the very people most affected, the landowners in the area. I believe this can be a partnership that strengthens families, strengthens the local economy, and strengthens our state energy security. All we're asking is the chance to continue listening, studying, and collaborating with this community, not a complete halt that ends the conversation before it begins.
Thank you, ma'am. That's
Thank
your
you so
time.
much
I
for-
appreciate you. Public comments.
Hello, Sarah Moore, Fayetteville, Arkansas, with Arkansas Justice Reform Coalition. For the past several months, we've come before you and sent notes and talked to specific JPs asking for there to be a conversation of the $18.8 million jail expansion that's happening down in South Fayetteville at our current detention center. That is funded with American Rescue Plan money. Something that we're concerned is an ineligible use of those funds. But even thinking about the project just itself in the budget, I don't know if you guys have reviewed, but we've spent many hours, and we do think this is the job of this body to oversee, that the components of this project with what's been filed through the clerk's office look to be overspending substantially. I mean, do you know how much has been spent to date? Do you know how much overrun has been had on potential parts of the project? Do you know what the final cost is going to be for this? And then also, we've talked to you about 88 beds at our $80 a day. This is about $2 million operating expense ongoing that, as we're talking about budgets, our quarter-cent sales tax doesn't cover the $26 million operating cost of the jail today. On some specific line items where we spent, again, hours going to the clerk's office and compiling, there's structural steel from Will Shark that was bid at $354,355. That's come in at $629,215. So that's a 78% increase. We have Garrett X earthware and storm drainage and site utilities bid package was about $1.7 million. That's come in closer to $1.9 million, so a 12% increase. We have things like the door frames hardware from PC Hardware at $114,398 was bid. It came in at $183,786, so that's about a 61% increase. Red Dot Building System was bid at $223,094, and it came in at $315,528, or a 41% increase. I could read these over and over and over again.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Your
I hope
time's
that
expired.
publicly we'll have a conversation about this project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll be moving forward with our meeting. Item number 6 is an approval of the minutes. The minutes were delivered with the agenda packet. Are there any corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes. A motion to accept by Justice Lemming, second by Justice Dennis. All those in favor? Those opposed? The minutes have been accepted. With that, we'll move into the judge's report. First of all, I want to thank the young men and women here this evening again from the Lando Goshen 4-H Club. I really appreciate you, and I want to know what that means to us, that we get to see the youth of this county and then also get to have conversations with you. And thank you again. Special thanks to Dave and Miriam for our invocation and our welcome this evening. I really appreciate that. The disposal report was delivered with the agenda packet, a little lengthier this time, but if you have any questions about that, please get with the department leadership or with my office, and we can try to get you any answers. Always trying to continue to clean and keep the county robustly ready to pivot. I had the honor and distinction to welcome the lead AR-21 class to Washington County this morning. They went and spent the day at the Center for Arkansas Farms and Food. And what Lead AR is, it's a leadership class that moves around the state and basically takes civics lessons, for lack of a better terminology, about what the challenges we're seeing in local governments, within our communities and within our societies. And I really appreciated seeing all those people there. We had some new faces from all around the state, and of course some familiar faces from right here in Washington County. Just good to see a lot of people engaged on the issues that we're going to see not only here in Washington County over the next 5 to 10 years, but statewide in the next 5 to 10 years. And so I really appreciate that. I was also invited this morning to have breakfast. This month is the National Homeless Awareness Month. And I was invited to Genesis Church in South Fayetteville this morning for breakfast. And what an honor that was, and also eye-opening. Genesis Church and a few other churches around the area, along with Seven Hills, have developed a collective that they've dubbed Community Response to Homelessness, and it has an acronym CR2H. And it was just a good morning to get with other local leaders and talk about the issue of homelessness and how challenging that is, which is the goal of the collective. It's to educate people on the underlying issues of homelessness and try to work together to solve it. Our very own district judge, Judge Tara Stevenson, was one of the honored speakers today. Judge Tara Stevenson heads up our mental health court, and so she got to share about some of the exciting things that we're doing there in Washington County, and I surely appreciate her work. Along with Dr. Bridget Russell, they were both very instrumental about us obtaining the grant for the mental health court from the Department of Justice here this year. I applaud their efforts and think that they go above and beyond, and I hope we can all appreciate where they're going. It was good to talk, though. We have increased or more funding tonight for the Community Rebuilding Initiative. That on the backs of that CR2H meeting really got me in the mind. We are bringing the community together. And right now, the epicenter with that, with CRI and with these other initiatives and with Seven Hills is Southern Fayetteville. And so I want you guys to know that we continue to take pride that the stake of Community Rebuilding Initiative is housed in South Fayetteville. I believe a lot of governmental efforts are concentrating there, and I think CRI has energized the community to come in, work in that environment, and see if we can't come up with solutions. I'm very appreciative for every one of the citizens and every one of our staff that are helping doing that. Finally, one housekeeping item tonight. The District Court of West Fork has reached out to us. They're doing a little cleaning themselves. State statute requires that by document destruction, we have to notify the justices of the peace. You're one of the funding authorities of the West Fork District Court, and so anybody that has a funding jurisdiction, we have to record this in the minutes that you've been notified that they will be destroying documents. They have to vote on it. Okay, I will take a motion for that in a minute. Counselor Baker has reviewed those requirements. She believes they're in compliance, and we just want to take a vote tonight to reflect that in our minutes so that they can continue to spring house. Justice Ricker?
I make a motion to, court has notified me about that, and what it is they've changed most of their paper records to electronic format, so they're needing an order to be able to destroy all the paper stuff, and I so move.
Justice Lyons, second. All those in favor? Aye. That's been reflected in the minutes and also approved by the court. Finally, I think we continue to watch the weather and the rain over the next 24, 48 hours, and I want you guys all to know that we've got a dedicated road crew down there that will probably be called out at some point, whether that be emergency or convenience for our traveling public over the next 48 hours. And if you would allow me, I'd like to say a little prayer for them right now as we watch this. If you remember, our road department works 4/10s, and so tomorrow is usually a day that they would be enjoying when they're off time, but highly likely that they'll be enjoying their time with us. So with that, if you'd bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we lift up our road department crews as heavy rains come. Surround them with your protection as they work through the night and day. Give them clear minds, steady hands, and safe paths as they respond to washouts and emergencies. Strengthen their bodies against fatigue, guide their decisions, and bring them home safely to their families. Let their work be effective, keeping our roads passable and our communities secure. We trust them into your care for the next 24 hours and beyond. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. With that, we'll move on to new business. Item number 8, Counselor, will you read that by title only?
Item 8 is an ordinance amending ordinance 2019-4.
Justice Lyons.
Thank you, Chair. The amending this ordinance basically to provide more time for my colleagues and myself to review the agenda and prepare for all the upcoming Quorum Court meetings, whether it's Quorum Court here, the County Services, or the Finance and Budget Committee meeting. To do that, we've moved some timeframes back. It used to be 5 days that we would provide any ordinance or resolution that we'd like to be put on the agenda to the county councilor. 5 days prior, we're moving that to 7 days to still give him 5 days to review and provide updates to drafts, et cetera, so it can be prepared for the meeting and the agenda going out. Basically leading to, instead of the agenda going out the Friday afternoon prior to the meeting, is for it to go out the Wednesday prior to the meeting. Again, just trying to provide more time to review the agenda, get to appropriate parties as we need to ask questions and get some input from county officials, et cetera. I move that we pass this amendment to this ordinance.
Justice Lyons, this is on the first reading.
Thank you. I make a motion, we suspend the rules and move it to the second reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move this to a second reading by Justice Lyons. Second by Justice Ricker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I had it as my light on.
Okay.
I was not recognized.
I'm sorry. Counselor, will you read that for a second time? By title only?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2019-4.
Gotcha. Justice Koger?
Thank you, Judge. Yes, my question is, I'd like to understand when this goes into effect. Like, will it go into effect before our next county services meeting? Or does it have to be published or something like that?
It has to be published. It won't go into effect for 30 days. After it's signed and entered and published, there's a 30-day period before it goes into effect because there's not an emergency clause on it and it's not an appropriation ordinance.
30 days from the date of publication?
30 days from the entry of the ordinance. Once it's signed and filed with the county clerk, then there's a 30-day time period.
Okay, thank you.
I move we suspend the rules and move this to the third and final reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move this to a third and final reading by Justice Lyons. Second by Justice Ricker. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? That passes. Counselor, will you read this ordinance for third and final time?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2019-4.
Justice Lyons?
I move we pass this ordinance.
I have a motion to pass item number 8.1 by Justice Lyons, second by Justice Ricker. Any further discussion on item number 8.1? Any public comments on item 8.1? Seeing none, Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll? This is a motion to pass item 8.1 by Justice Lyons and a second by Justice Ricker.
Justice Lyons? Yes, sir. Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Yes. Justice Koger? Yes. Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Yes. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes. Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Ricker? Yes. Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes. Yes.
Item number 8.1 passes. Moving along to item 9.1, Counselor, will you read that by title only?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2025-44.
Justice Ecke.
Thank you, Judge. This is an ordinance that we, the Quorum Court, passed in October, and it contained a scrivener's error. It has to do with the pay increase of the members of the Planning and Zoning Boards. And with that, we needed to make an amendment to the ordinance. And so I make a motion that we pass ordinance number 9.1. It's on this first reading. Therefore, I make a motion to suspend the rules and pass this on to the second reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move it to a second reading by Justice Ecke. I believe Justice Lyons is going to let you have it, Justice Rivera Lopez. Second by Justice Rivera Lopez. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? That passes. Counselor, will you read that for a second time?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2025-44.
Justice Ecke?
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and pass this on to the third reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move it to a second reading by Justice Ecke.
Second.
Second by Justice Rivera Lopez.
I said third. I apologize. Second reading.
Third.
It was a third reading.
I might have
You
said second. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's
I'm
the
getting as
third
excited
reading.
as you guys are.
I know. So it's the third reading, correct.
To the third and final reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. Counselor, will you read that for a third and final time?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2025-44.
Justice Ecke?
Thank you. Judge, I'd like to make a motion that we pass ordinance number 9.1.
Second.
I have a motion to pass item 9.1 by Justice Ecke, a second by Justice Lyons. Any further discussion on item 9.1? Any public comments on item 9.1? Seeing none, Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll? This is on a motion to pass item 9.1, motion made by Justice Ecke, second by Justice Lyons.
Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Koger? Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes.
Item 9.1 passes. Item 10.1, Counselor, you read that by title only?
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning Board for the Puptown Doggy Daycare Project.
Justice Lyons?
Could we have Director Ada introduce this, please?
Dr. Ada, will you give us a summary on this project, sir?
Good evening, everyone. So the project was presented to the planning board on October 30th. It was approved by the five members attending. So just short background, the applicant is requesting a doggy daycare and a boarding facility. The project will utilize 1.7 out of 4.2 acres. It's going to operate between 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily with drop off and pickup by appointment only. The business will initially have one employee who is the owner of the property, which is basically lives also north of that facility, and she's planning to have future 4 employees in general. They applied for a CUP and was approved for 2 phases. They're going to apply for phase 1. It's going to be construction of 10,000 square footage office building. It has all the utility and sewer, and it has 10 9x20 parking lots. One of them is ADA accessible, and they're going to have a solar lit sign by the entrance, 15 10x10 mobile doggy cottages with electricity, individual fences, and all the amenities that comes with it. Phase 2, they're going to allow to have additional 20 mobile dog cottages. So if this project is ratified today, they're going to have to come back for each phase for a large scale. We only had, I don't want to say concern, but we have one neighbor calling us about a clarification. Since they're going to be indoors, outdoors dogs, his question was, after 6 p.m., any dogs is going to be parking outside. We said no, all the dogs are going to be indoors in the afternoon. They're going to be outside and inside in the mornings only. And the project engineer is here if you have any further questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ada. Justice Lemming, did you have a question for Dr. Ada? Yes, sir. Dr. Ada, will you hang on a second? Justice Lemming.
That one neighbor, how close was he to the property?
It's just, it's the neighboring property, and that property, it was designed to be, it's complicated. So it's 1 acre that has about 20 plus homes on it. It was done back in the day. So he's the only one who called us.
So how close is the closest neighbor? One house, there's 20 houses in this?
Yeah, he's just the adjacent property. So it's lateral housing. So
they join together?
Yes.
It's a subdivision type?
Yeah.
Thing. Well, that'll be good to wake you up in the mornings.
Well, absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Ada.
Absolutely, sir.
Justice Lyons?
I move we suspend the rules and move this to second reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move this to a second reading by Justice Lyons. Do I have a second? Second by Justice Lemming. I'm so sorry. Justice Ricker, excuse me. Motion by Justice Lyons, second by Justice Ricker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Counselor, will you read this for a second time?
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning Board for the Puptown Doggy Daycare Project.
I move we suspend the rules and move this to a third and final reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move this to a third and final reading by Justice Lyons. Second by Justice Ricker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Counselor, will you read this for a third and final time?
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning Board for the Puptown Doggy Daycare Project.
Justice Lyons?
I move we pass item 10.1.
I have a motion to pass item 10.1 by Justice Lyons. second by Justice Ricker. Any further discussion on item 10.1? Sorry about that, I have a microphone issue here. Justice Coger.
Yes, thank you. And maybe Dr. Adder said this, but I missed it. I assume that the letters notifying the neighbors, they were all sent out in a timely manner?
It's part of the process, ma'am. It has to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to be-
Otherwise, we won't be meeting ordinances, and that like project would have been like tabled for the next following month.
And you've only received feedback from that one neighbor?
One person, and like he called us, yes.
Okay. It just kind of worries me because, I mean, I imagine it's going to be a life-changing experience for those neighbors. So I just want to make sure that they had been notified. And it's, usually I hear from people on things like this, but I haven't heard from anyone about it. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion on item 10.1? Any public comments on item 10.1? Seeing none, Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll? This is a motion on the motion to pass item 10.1. Motion made by Justice Lyons, second by Justice Ricker.
Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Coger? Yes. Justice Dennis? No. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rio Stafford? Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Abstain. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes.
Item 10.1 passes. Item number 11. Counselor, will you read this resolution by title only?
A resolution in support of an order by the County Court of Washington County to provide assistance to Ozarks Electric Cooperative and Ozarks Go.
Justice Lemming?
Well, this will be a wonderful project for Washington County and Ozark Electric. Their facility they have out here on 16 Highway is horrible for traffic in the morning, getting in and out, and they want to build a facility and take about half their employees up there to a different area, and that would really help them get in and out in the mornings. And I know, given tax breaks, we're still going to get tax money, but everything they do is going to bring tax money back to Washington County. When they pour concrete, when they build buildings, when they put light fixtures in, and all the improvements is going to just help Washington County all the way around. And and then they're going to work on the lines and the infrastructure to keep it up to date so we can build more like we don't really need, but we're going to anyway. But I think this is a win-win for the Washington County. Thank you.
Justice Lemming, would you like to make the motion? Oh, yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we pass this.
I have a motion to pass item 11.1 by Justice Lemming, a second by Justice Dennis. Any further discussion on item 11.1? Justice Massengill.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'll just make my same comment I made last time. I don't support this. I think Ozarks Electric's going to make the infrastructure improvements they need to make to satisfy their customers, to serve their customers. This gives them a tax break, and I don't support giving a single company a tax break.
Justice Coger.
Yes, thank you, Judge. I can understand funding true infrastructure needs like substations and grid upgrades and service expansions. Those benefits for the public and the company. But the proposal goes beyond that. It includes a $20 to $40 million office building in Springdale. I also cannot justify 65% tax abatement for 30 years. I think that's too much and it's for too long. Just this week, Springdale approved Act 9 bond issues for Tyson with a 50% tax abatement for 10 years. Their project was $127,000. Ozark is being offered 65% for 30 years, far more generous terms with a much longer term impact on taxpayers and school districts. I'm also concerned that the pilot negotiations occurred only between Ozark and the county judge without input from the county assessor, who understands valuation and long-term tax base effects. A 30-year, 65% commitment is a massive commitment that affects generations of Washington County taxpayers. I do not believe this is a good deal for Washington County taxpayers now and in the future. Thank you.
Justice Lyons.
Thank you, Judge. I agree with my colleague, J.P. Lemming. I think it's a good deal for Washington County. I think it's a good deal for Ozark. I think it's a good deal for Ozark customers. Because I agree, J.P. Massengale, that they'll do it regardless because they have to. The question is, without support, you're going to see rate increases across all of the Ozark companies' customers, which is a huge majority of those in Washington County. So you're just adding additional costs for electricity and other services provided to the constituents of Washington County. This is a way to support that, get the upgrades that will last for years. Will support the expansion that we're going to see across Washington County in the next several years, as well as do it at a point that doesn't adversely affect the monthly budgets of our constituents. I will support this.
Justice Bruns?
Thank you, sir. I think most of those questions that our colleague had on Ozarks Go were addressed during their presentation. And the one thing that I really particularly looked at was a term called return on investment. And I know I'll never live to see this return on investment, but there's a lot of these kids out here that will. And it's going to have a long-term effect on, I think, some very valuable assets in these kids. And that's why I'd vote yes.
Justice Rios Stafford?
Thank you, Judge. If this were a matter of giving a tax break to an ordinary corporation, I would be against it. But that's not what this is. This is an investment for a public utility. What's more, they're a member-owned cooperative, which is rare in our world. We need more of those sorts of things. And what this public utility is going to do with that money, including with their expanded headquarters, is essentially provide services to our community, our rapidly growing, booming, expanding community. We're expected to double our population by the year, I think, 2040 or 2050. And so this will help them get those utility assets online faster in order to address that growth. And so those are some of the reasons I'm supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on item 11.1? Any public comments on item 11.1? Seeing none, we'll take up the question. Mr. Allen, will you please call roll on item 11.1? This is a motion to pass by Justice Fleming and a second by Justice Dennis.
Justice Lyons?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Justice Ecke?
Yes.
Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Koger? No. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengale? No. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes.
Item 11.1 passes. I appreciate that support. I very much support the mission of Ozarks Electric, and County Court will move post haste. Next item up is our consent agenda. Counselor, will you read those items by title only?
Sure. Item 1 on the consent agenda is an ordinance recognizing revenue in the amount of $407,347 in the High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas HIDA Grant Fund and appropriating $407,347 from the HIDA Grant Fund to the HIDA 2025 budget for 2025. Item 2 is an ordinance levying the county, municipal, and school district taxes for the year 2025. Item 3 is an ordinance amending the Buildings and Grounds budget for 2025 and for other matters pertaining thereto. Item 4 is an ordinance amending the treasurer's budget for 2025 and for other matters pertaining thereto. Item 5 is an ordinance amending the Circuit Court 5 budget for 2025 and for other matters pertaining thereto. Item 6 is an ordinance recognizing additional revenue in the amount of $16,131.67 in the general fund and appropriating said $16,131.67 from the general fund to the medical, dental, and hospital line item in the Circuit Court 4 budget for 2025. Item 7 is an ordinance amending the Juvenile Detention Center budget for 2025 and for other matters pertaining thereto.
Justice Lyons.
I move we pass the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion to pass the consent agenda by Justice Lyons, a second by Justice Rivera Lopez. Are there any discussions on the consent agenda? Any public comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we'll take up the question. I have a motion to pass the consent agenda by Justice Lyons, a second by Justice Rivera Lopez. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Lyons?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Koger? Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes.
The consent agenda passes. With that, we'll move on to item number 13. Council, will you read that by title only?
Item 13 is an ordinance appropriating $121,138 from the unappropriated reserves in the general fund to the Children's Safety Center of Washington County.
Justice Ricker?
Make a motion to suspend the rules, push this on second reading.
It's a appropriation ordinance and doesn't require that.
I'll make a motion to pass.
Motion to pass by Justice Ricker. I believe I heard second by Justice Hires. Any further discussion on item number 13.1? Justice Koger?
Thank you, Judge. I want to support the Arkansas Children's Safety Network and the important work they do. But many nonprofits are facing deep cuts right now, and I know others would like to understand how they can work with the county. And this is opening the door to that. The county discontinued support for the HIV clinic, environmental affairs, Ozark Regional Transit, and more. I'm just trying to get a better understanding of how the county determines which organizations and programs can be funded and which cannot. And I ask these questions not in opposition to helping children, but in the interest of fairness, transparency, and consistency, and how we support all our community partners. Some of you were here in 2022 when we had nonprofits coming and asking for money. And it was heartbreaking to watch all that. And I just don't want to see us step into something like that again. Thank you.
Justice Ecke?
Thank you, Judge. Correct me, or just clarify, did we not support the HIV clinic that it was a motion by Justice Hires to fund it? Didn't we fund that?
The HIV clinic has been moved to the operations of the community clinic, which I continue to say it's still funded, it's still operational, and it's better than it's ever been in that new home.
Okay, so we just wanted to make that clear that it was mentioned that we don't support or fund the HIV clinic, and we do. Thank you.
Any further discussion on item 13.1? Justice Koger?
Thank you. We did not fund the HIV clinic. We passed that, and then something happened afterwards, and they ended up withdrawing the fund. Is that not correct, Judge?
You're making me a little uncomfortable by the germaneness of this conversation, but community clinic had a way to fund that. They had groups, they had grants that they were eligible for. And what we did was we took our seed money, if you remember, that we had left over in the account from the HIV clinic and gave it to community clinic with the approval of our other partners, which were Benton County and Washington Regional. They had claim, I think, to each a third of those funds. And we transitioned that all to community clinic to get them started on the best foot they can. I've heard no complaints, and everybody seems happy
But the bottom line is we're no longer funding them.
because they're funded by community clinic.
Thank you.
Justice Rios Stafford.
Thank you, Judge. The Children's Safety Center provides some essential services that our criminal justice system here in the county depends on. The Washington County Prosecutor's Office and the Washington County Sheriff's Office both rely on services that are provided by the Children's Safety Center. So, you know, to me, they're a nonprofit that directly interfaces with the services that we as a county are tasked with providing to our citizens. And so that's why I think that this deserves some special consideration. And I'll be supporting this.
Thank you. Further discussion? Any public comments on item 13.1? Seeing none, we'll take up the question. I have a motion to pass item 13.1 by Justice Ricker, second by Justice Hires. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Koger? No. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes.
Item 13.1 passes. Item 14.1. Counselor, will you read that by title only?
Item 14 is an ordinance anticipating additional revenue in the amount of $284,090.76 in the Community Rebuilding Initiative Grant Fund and appropriating $284,090.76 to the Community Rebuilding Initiative Grant Fund for 2025 and appropriating $94,696.92 to the RSAT Matching 2025-2026 Fund for 2025.
Justice Ecke.
Thank you, Judge. This is to clarify any fuzzy math that I'm sure all of us received an email from Comptroller Sherman, from Dr. Bridget Russell, giving an explanation of how the math actually broke down. And it is basically a match requirement is 25% of the total projected cost of the project. It is not 25% of what the grant provides. In this case, the total projected cost for this specific project is calculated at $378,000. $1,787.68. The grant awarded is the amount of $284,090.76, which is 75% of the $378. The county's contribution and matching part of it is 25%, which is $94,696.92. So I thank Comptroller Sherman and Grants Director Dr. Russell for sending out this email and clarifying the math that was included. Therefore, I make a motion to pass 14.1.
I have a motion to pass item number 14.1 by Justice Ecke. I heard second by Justice Lyons. Any further discussion on item number 14.1? Justice Koger?
Yes, thank you, Judge. I want to be clear that I support treatment and recovery programs. My concern tonight is not with the idea of the treatment, it's with the impact this funding will have on our ability to invest in real justice reform. RSET has only been operating for 7 months. That's not enough time to meaningfully evaluate outcomes or whether the program is effective in reducing our jail population, or is it leading to more pretrial defendants held in jail longer. Every time we expand a program like RSAT, we push true justice reform further down the road. The 2020 Criminal Justice Assessment Study that the county paid $70,000 for found that pretrial defendants are the #1 driver of our jail population. and that study recommended a robust pretrial services program. The National Association of Pretrial Service Agencies defines pretrial services as a program that offers support options for defendants that require oversight while they are on pretrial release.
Just let me cue your mic, Justice Lyons. We have a point of order by Justice Lyons.
Sorry, I don't believe the discussion of other programs such as justice reform, such as the pretrial, has anything to do with the motion on the table.
I agree. Justice Coker, will you please keep your comments germane to this funding question?
Don't I get to reply to that?
No. I've made a ruling.
Well, then I appeal your ruling, but I should get to reply to that.
Okay.
We have in the past.
Justice Coker has appealed my ruling, and the ruling was just to ask to keep her comments germane to the topic. So now there's a question. Do we sustain that? To sustain that would be a yes vote. To overturn my ruling would be a no vote. Is that all right? Does that make sense? To sustain my ruling, to confirm it, to ask Justice Coker to please keep her comments germane to the topic per Justice Lyons' request would be a yes vote. I don't really know what we're voting on, but you can understand where we're at, right? All that said, please show of hands to sustain the ruling of the chair, to ask Justice Coker to please be germane. Thank you. And those who disagree, who want the, thank you. Justice Coker, please keep your comments germane to the topic.
But Judge, Mr. Lester didn't rule on whether or not I had the right to reply to that.
I don't believe there's a right to reply. I believe you have a right to make a point of order. The chair then rules on the point of order, and then the proper procedure after that would be to appeal that if you didn't agree with it, someone doesn't agree with the ruling. I know that maybe in the past that has happened, but I don't believe there's any right to like a debate over that in Roberts, but I'll look that up, and if I'm wrong, I'll be certain to let everyone know.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Also, get the floor back, okay? Also, to say that RSAT is better than nothing is not a good method for spending taxpayer money. We have an evidence-based solution. If we continue funding programs that don't address the real cause of overcrowding, we will never get around to building programs that do address that. Thank you.
Thank you. Justice Lyons?
Thank you, Judge. I'm a little confused. As I understand this ordinance, Counselor, or you're looking up, this is an ordinance recognizing grant funds that is being provided to the county for a specific purpose that grant was written for, which is the CRI. This money cannot be used for anything else because it's that grant for that purpose, is my understanding. Correct?
That is correct.
So I don't understand how this is affecting other possible programs, quite honestly, programs that have never came to this board, this quorum court, and presented as an ordinance or a resolution or anything else to make a decision on or to discuss. I guess the best I can tell is my colleague would like us to not accept money as a grant to be able to do more in the arena of justice reform through the CRI. I will be supporting this, but just want to make sure my understanding was correct. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Further discussion? Public comments on item number 14.1.
So Justice Coker, back to your question about the explanation, a point of order is not debatable. The chair may provide explanation and can submit questions to the body, but a point of order is not debatable. So there would be, it's just ruled on and then voted on.
Okay, I appreciate that, but you're right, we have done it in the past.
Sure.
Thank you. Public comments.
Thank you. Sarah Moore with Arkansas Justice Reform Coalition. We continue to be concerned at how this program originated. It never, with returning home, was competitively bid, which is required both by federal procurement standards as well as state procurement standards. Additionally, there have been concerns too that oftentimes the accounting has been fuzzy. Whenever we approved for 2025 what was said to be a pilot program, it only started taking people in April of this year, but the award period was for 2025, January to the end of December. The award amount ended at the end of September, and so this body appropriated general fund money of, I think, somewhere around $500,000 for October through December. I can't help but see that this seems to be another double dipping possible situation where we need to get clarity, where it looks like we're continuing to give returning home additional money from October forward through the state funds. These are still taxpayer funds. We don't really want to see additional funds double dipping. And so I'd really like to understand, are we going to recoup and take those general fund monies back to our general coffers, and so the grant money will replace it? We'll just have that 25% match. Additionally, if you look at the application that was put in place, it's interesting to see where the money goes. I mean, do you know that, over about 6 different individuals, that's the majority of the money, about $500,000, and that Nick Robbins himself gets about $93,000 from that. He doesn't just do the CRI, he does other things like CAP and other things for returning home. It's very unusual for a nonprofit to put 100% of their salary for their executive director to just one program. It's usually spread based on the amount of time you spend at each program. Have you asked then, does Nick Robbins make $200,000, $300,000? I will tell you that most nonprofits are scraping by of total budgets of $400,000, $300,000, $200,000. And so typically their CEOs or their EDs are not making anywhere close to that. I have a lot of concerns that those monies are not going into the individuals, into the programming, into the therapeutic treatment and care and evidence-based approaches that could happen. And I understand that this body wants to be caring and wants to make sure we're taking care of this part of our population. I very much appreciate that. But also, it's kind of like when automobiles came out and it was like, you can have a black Model T Ford. That was your choice. It really feels like for taxpayers, we're basically being told, you can have this Christian men's ministry returning home, or you can't have anything else to help your community. It's incredibly disappointing because many of us have been having this conversation for 7 years in depth, have expertise, have gone and looked at best practices, have looked at programs that have better return on investment. I'm incredibly concerned, and you should be as well, about the constitutionality of how much
Thank you,
we're
ma'am.
focused on
That's
Christianity
your time.
in this
I
program.
appreciate you, ma'am.
Thank
Public
you.
comments.
Sherry Main, 15451 Riches Road. I normally don't get into discussions like this. Anyway, I'm into numbers, and the numbers, the county's, my understanding, the county provides the building, the utilities, and the jail staff for the CRI. And we don't have a budget or anything for the CRI from returning home on how the money is budgeted. And that concerned me a little bit because I do numbers. So I went and on the IRS website and pulled up the 990 form, which is a return of organization exempt from income tax for returning home. Last one they had on record was 2023. 2024 is probably on an extension and wasn't filed until just recently, so it's not available online yet. But I wanted to point out, since we work in numbers, sorry, lost my page. I'll burn up my minutes here trying to find a page number. Payroll, if we look at compensation for officers' salaries and compensation of, well, the total officers, directors, trustees, and key employees, on their 990 form, they had $437,585 in wages paid for returning home as a whole, and an additional $33,855 in payroll taxes. So I'm a little concerned as to putting this kind of money in an organization that's taking that kind of payroll expense is a little concerning, and I think it should be a little concerning for you as well without seeing a budget or some type of operating expense for returning home. or maybe broken down by the CAP and the CRI facility. It's just a little concerning. I wanted to point that out since I just found this information today. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll take up the question. I have a motion to pass item number 14.1 by Justice Secchi and a second by Justice Lyons. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Washington? Abstain. Justice Koger? No. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Abstain.
Item number 14.1 passes. With that, we'll move on to item number 15. Counselor, will you read that by title only?
Item 15 is an ordinance establishing the Washington County annual budget for the fiscal and calendar year 2026.
Justice Lyons?
Thank you, Judge. As probably many of you know, we started working this budget in October through the Budget and Finance Committee. Went through a lot of rounds, questions, some within the committee meeting itself where we brought in some of the departments that had some of the most complex or complicated requests to make sure we understood them. We submitted questions, through Comptroller Sherman and got many of those answered through that process, and ended up in the last Budget and Finance Committee voting to bring this to the Quorum Court to be considered for next year. A couple of points. For our county millage is 4.3. The legal limit is 5. Washington County is the 43rd in regard to array of counties to have that millage. 36 counties have millage for county general at 5. So we're one of the lowest millage in the state for our constituents. The budget request is for $129,707,474, at 1.87% over this year's budget. A lot of considerations in that. One is the health care. As you know, county is self-funded for health care. As we all know, because we all experience, health care continues to go up dramatically. And it's in the best interest of the county to make sure our employees have the best health care out there so they can continue to serve our constituents. Of that $129 million, 53.7% is for labor, $69,658,281. I believe we've worked hard. We've got a good budget for next year to take us through next year. We have an unappropriated reserve in the budget of $1.7 million, something we're going to have to watch closely. This year, we spent $1.9 million of our unappropriated reserves. So we've got to watch what we do through the year, next year, with that unappropriated reserve and make sure we're doing the most we can for what we have left. With that, I move that we pass the budget.
I have a motion to pass item 15.1 by Justice Lyons. Do I have a second? Second by Justice Ecke. Further discussion on item 15.1? Justice Bruns.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I would like to make an amendment that we not vote on this till next month. There are two areas that I think have never been touched on in any meeting I've been in, and that would be the county attorney's budget and the judge's budget. I'd like to have just an overview like we have everybody else on those two budgets. I'm sure everything's perfectly fine, but I just think it's transparently we need to have an overview on those two budgets.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? I don't know that that's an appropriate motion. Is it? I mean, we're amending the ordinance. I don't know that there's a way to amend it. This is an appropriation ordinance. If it doesn't get 10 votes tonight, it'll move on to the second reading next month. I believe that's mechanically how we would do that. Counselor, do you?
Yeah. I don't know that there's anything to amend. I mean, that's not a proper motion to move it to postpone it. I mean, if it doesn't get, with an appropriation ordinance, it takes 10 votes to pass with one reading. And if not, it operates like any other ordinance.
Justice Coger?
Thank you. So if I'm understanding correct, then I need to make a motion to postpone this until next Quorum Court meeting next month. Is that correct, to get that to happen?
If that's your pleasure, yep.
Yes, sir. I would like to do that. I make a motion that we postpone this into next month.
I have a motion to postpone this to the Quorum Court meeting?
To the Quorum Court meeting.
December Quorum Court meeting.
Yes, because, so we can answer some of the questions that Just J.P. Bruins brought up. And also some that were brought up by the audience, because I never got a copy of those tonight. Thank you.
I have a motion to postpone until the December meeting. Do I have a second? Second by Justice Rivera Lopez. I have a motion and a second to postpone this until next month's meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Mr. Allen, will you please call a roll?
Justice Lyons? No. Justice Ecke? No. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Coger? Yes. Justice Dennis? No. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? No. Justice Lemming? No. Justice Ricker? No. Justice Pond? No. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? No. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes.
That motion fails. That returns us to the main motion. I have a motion to pass item 15.1 by Justice Lyons and a second by Justice Ecke. Any further discussion? Justice Ecke?
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to compliment Comptroller Sherman for doing a thorough job on presenting us with all the information. And I believe that if there was a question regarding anybody's budget, they had the opportunity for months and months and months and months to bring this up for discussion, but it was never brought up. And this is the midnight hour. This is the month that we, as a quorum court, should be passing the budget. If there was any discussion, Comptroller Sherman was always available. And I think these are just tactics that are being used to delay the budget. Thank you, Judge.
Justice Bruns, you need to cue your mic, the point of order, so I can recognize you. Justice Bruns?
I have a point of order for that stuff. That had nothing to do with whether we were going to pass the budget time or not. So.
Understood, Justice Bruns. Move forward if that's all right. Is that okay?
Fine.
Justice Rios Stafford?
Thank you, Judge. One of the reasons I voted no is because I have my own amendment that I'd like to bring forward for discussion. At last week's Budget Committee meeting, I asked Comptroller Sherman about what the impact would be of adding a 2.9% COLA, cost of living adjustment, on top of the step plan raises that all county employees get. And we, by the way, we've amended this budget last week at the budget meeting to clarify that the step plan raises going forward will apply to all county employees, all. Comptroller Sherman got those numbers back to me and also included some concerns on this about the impact that it would have on our unappropriated reserves and the uncertainty and rising pressures about our employee insurance fund. I'm going to bring this forward, this amendment for public discussion, so we can have a discussion about it. But if it's the will of the majority of my colleagues, after we've discussed it, I will withdraw the amendment, or we can vote on it, either way. And I also would like if Comptroller Sherman could come up and sort of discuss what he sent us in an email.
Comptroller Sherman, will you please come forward? We can discuss. I believe this is germane.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll bring forward a motion to add a 2.9% COLA on top of the step plan raises.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Is it motion, and did I hear second, Justice Irish? Second. Comptroller Sherman?
Yeah, okay, so if we added a 2.9% COLA, basically it would add $1.8 million onto the overall labor cost of the budget and take labor from $69,700,000 to $71,500,000 basically. The big concerns that I have, if we added that, our county general unappropriated reserve is $1.8 million going into 2026 right now. If we did that, it would go to $900,000 basically. So it would cut it in half. And then the road, because there's a lot of employees in road, they were already tight on the budget. And they were going in with 9,000, which has actually changed because they actually unfunded a position since we had the last meeting, so they have about 50,000. But that would require a cash infusion of about 225,000 into the road department from either county general or the general reserve fund to make that fund legally able to operate, because you have to have holdback of 10%. And then some unappropriated reserve. The jail fund unappropriated reserve going into 2026 right now is $819,000. It would go to $300,000 basically, so $500,000 drop. So that's my first concern. It would give us less wiggle room in the future to do ordinances and pull on that unappropriated reserve. I mean, we could do salary sweeps if we needed to figure out our overages in labor to make that happen. But going into this next year, the unappropriated reserves are already lower than I've seen since I've been here. Okay, the insurance fund, basically, we've had, everybody knows what we've done there. We've gone from 832 per person that takes health insurance to 1,000 that takes health insurance. So basically, going from like 9,800 a person to 12,000, maybe a $3,000 increase per person that the county is putting up. So in my, that health insurance fund, I already know there's a couple of diagnoses coming. We hit stop loss this year, so we're gonna be on the hook on that stop loss on those individuals next year. Their stop loss is gonna go up. So, and the premium of the stop loss is gonna go up. So we're not, that fund is rising and just keeps on rising, and that's one of the personnel costs, so labor costs that's driving, we added $1 million, 1.1 million just this year in labor costs there. And then I would also like for us to get rid of, as we spend down the ARPA money and revenue replacement, to see where because the budget's gonna come down, the overall budget, as we spend that money. Next year, we won't have that money in the budget. So then the percentage of labor is gonna be a little bit higher. So I would like to see where that sort of shakes out before we do any kind of COLA. I know that might not make me a popular person with employees, but.
Justice Lemming?
We keep talking about employees. All of the ones that they're wanting to add in this year's budget, looks to me like about 10, 12, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16 employees. What's that going to do to the budget? Is that figured in this budget, the payroll and the insurance and everything?
Everything is in this budget right now that anybody's trying to add or take away.
It's already budgeted.
It's already budgeted.
The cost is already in there.
Cost is already in there. Justice Lyons?
Thank you, Judge. I concur with Comptroller Sherman. This is even at the 1.8 million of the reserves, it's lower than what we've had. And remember last year we had a large discussion about that. I think, I can live with it. We can make it happen. We just have to make sure we're being very specific as we go through the year with that reserve. Taking it down to like 900,000 is just not a starter for me at all. I think we're doing well by our employees with the 5% step plan. That's more than a 2.9% COLA that, quite honestly, a lot of others across the country is all they will get. So I think we've done right by the employees. We've made sure they've had good health care. We've increased what the county puts up for that to reduce their costs. We got a 5% step plan. So I think we've done well by the employees, and I hope they are very happy with what they received. They earned it. They deserve it. They work hard for our constituents and work long hours. But I can't support this amendment just because of where it's going to take the reserves.
The one thing about our health care plan too, it is very good for the employees. It's cheap. If you go out into the what I call the civilian world or the private world, you're paying double premiums. We had an increase, and we're not passing any of that along to the employees. We're sucking it all up. So,
Justice Coger.
Thank you, Judge. I know our employees deserve this, but I think we should listen to what Comptroller Sherman is saying, because once that ARPA money is gone, and it will have to be gone next year, then we could maybe look at this again. But for now, as much as I would like for this to be a thing, I just don't think we can afford it.
Further questions for Comptroller Sherman? Any further discussion on the amendment? I have a motion to amend by Justice Rios Stafford, a second by Justice Hires. Justice Rios Stafford?
Thank you, Judge. And thank you, Comptroller Sherman. Thank you to my colleagues for a good discussion on this. It seems like the overall sentiment is that it's not in the cards this year, but I do hope that we can keep our spending tight this year and that we can revisit this issue for 2027 on a cost of living adjustment. And so with that, I move to withdraw my amendment.
Justice Rios Stafford has withdrawn her motion to amend. Justice Ecke?
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to just kind of elaborate a bit on why it's so important for us to pass the budget in November and not wait until December. And that has to do with our HR staff. They have by December 22nd to key in all of the information, all the salaries that are in the budget. There's only 6 people to do that, and that is a time crunch for them if we pass it in November like we should. It gives them that time, but they're still under the gun. To pass it in December is to make sane people insane by pulling their hair out because they said it's impossible. And so I asked that we would consider our employees like we value them and the job that they have to perform by passing this budget tonight. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Justice Ecke. Further discussion on item 15.1. I have a motion to pass by Justice Lyons, second by Justice Ecke. Any public comments on item 15.1? You'll have to cue the mic if you hit the button on the right. Yep, there you go. There you go.
Cool. First time for everything. Good evening. Bryson Austin. I'm a resident of Fayetteville. During the Finance and Budget meeting on November 11th of this year, I stood before you all and recounted a brief history of the county's storied relationship with returning home, which seems to be a little light on oversight. I told you, and the Arkansas Justice Reform Coalition has informed you on several occasions, that returning home has not been completely responsible with taxpayer money and have failed to properly account for about $13,000 in spending. Some of the items that caught my attention were the CAP program spending on televisions, television mounts, entertainment systems, gazebos, the pool, and the grill. We continue and will continue to bring to light returning home operations, hoping and expecting you all to do the proper audit and provide much needed supervision. For years now, we have also attempted to raise the idea of pretrial services as a community-focused alternative to pretrial detention. We have peers and data to prove that those services prevent failures to appear, save taxpayer money, and do more to prevent recidivism than incarceration has in the state of Arkansas. So today, I ask for a few simple things that we always do. give the people of Washington County an accurate and complete update on the jail expansion project progress and spending, tell us how much operations will cost going forward, be wise with the money we provide to returning home, and make an earnest, evidence-based attempt at developing pretrial services in our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments.
Sherry Main, 15451 Riches Road. Really disappointed I didn't get my questions answered, and all of you should have asked these questions tonight. This budget has been worked on. I've been working on it for 2 months. It's a lot, and the HR grades these jobs. They grade them, and they know what the employees are going to be paid, and they already have that information in their system. There's no new entering data entry. This is all done. It's not a big deal to the HR to have this passed right away. And I know you're going to rubber stamp it and pass it, but my feelings are you are the purse strings to the county money. The public is paying taxes and trusting all of you with that money to be good stewards of our funds. Ask questions, get answers. Why is this increased? Why is this decreased? Why are we doing this? Why is this number so high and it wasn't last year? That's not hard. It's simple. If anyone has the answers, I'd like them. If you would want to share them with me as to why the reasons of these. I spent time on this for all of you to get questions answered so you can understand the budget. I know it's a big deal, and it doesn't have to be passed tonight. 1 year, under Judge Wood's administration, we were down in the midnight hour passing it because of problems with it. It doesn't have to be rubber stamped tonight. Think about it. Just because you don't want to deal with it next month, you want to stamp it, get it on out, and not have to think about it anymore. Well, that's not being a good steward of our funds. I'm sorry, but it's not. And I don't think you understand the unfunded positions versus the funded positions on the budget. There are some that are vacant, and there are some that are just unfunded. The money is not there in this budget to fund those. And just for instance, I gave you a copy of it, which you should have raised some eyebrows, but it didn't. On the jail, the sheriff, on the jail operations, there's 23 total positions open at the jail. 12 of those current positions at the jail are open and funded in this budget. 11 current positions are open at the jail that are unfunded in this budget. They're asking for 8 additional positions for the CRI building, and that's at the current facility. That's not when we get the new facility and move them in over, and there's more staffing needed from the sheriff.
Thank you, Ms. Main. Your time has expired.
I'm just saying.
With that, we're going to
think
take up
about
the
it.
question.
Think about it.
Judge, if you don't mind, Lisa Ecke, I represent myself, but I'm going to speak on behalf of our employees that work in the HR department. It is not that we are entering their grades. We have to enter the actual change in the step. It is manual. We don't have another option. Wrong. We have to key them. She doesn't know what she's talking about. We don't have that type of system. We touch every employee's pay. Please pass in November. That is from our valued employees that are asking us to do due diligence and pass this budget tonight. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. With that, we have a motion to pass item number 15.1 by Justice Lyons and a second by Justice Ecke. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Washington? Abstain. Justice Koger? No. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes. Justice Lemming? Could you repeat that, please? No. Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? No. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? No.
That item fails. It'll move to a second reading on December. With that, the committee reports are in your packet, and for tonight, we will be adjourned.